First responders, thank you for all that you do. I'm Garrett Martin of the Alberta First Responder Mortgage Program, a program I put together myself. After spending 8.5 years in law enforcement, I got my mortgage broker's license, and now I'm a proud sponsor of the Alberta First Responder Association and doing mortgages for first responders. No matter where you are in Canada, reach out. We're talking exclusive rate discounts, cashback offers, and guidance from someone who's been in your boots. I know the demands of the job, and I know how to make homeownership easier. Whether you're buying, renewing, or refinancing, I'll compare top lenders from across Canada to save you money. So visit GarrettMartinMortgages.com or text me at 403-915-1025 and let's get to work for you. Thank you for your service.
Sirens, Slammers, and Service, a podcast for female first responders by female first responders. My name is Nikki and I will be your host. As a former correctional officer in Alberta for almost 2 decades and the founder of Blue Line Fitness Testing, which provides law enforcement fitness testing and first responder wellness workshops, I started this podcast as a way for female first responders to share the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of their daily work. I want to showcase the unique perspectives, skill sets, and personalities that women bring to a first responder career and share their stories. So get ready to laugh your ass off, learn a whole bunch, and be inspired by some pretty badass women. Let's go. What's up, guys? Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Thanks for checking us out and being such loyal subscribers. I know a lot of you wait every week for an episode to drop, and that just makes my heart so happy. We are well over halfway through season 10, which just blows my mind. Again, guys, 10 seasons. Like, it's insane that has happened. And it feels like I just started this podcast yesterday, and yet we've interviewed so many incredible, amazing people and heard so many just inspiring stories. And like I said, every time I get to interview somebody, I just feel so lucky for having that opportunity to meet them and hear their story and just be able to share it with you guys. So I hope you're loving the show. Again, I would love for you to share the show with as many people as you can. Tell your friends about it. If you know somebody that's looking for a new podcast in the new year or looking for something to listen to over the holidays, again, I would absolutely love if you could share the show. The more people that can listen, the best. It's the best. And also, if you do not know, if you haven't seen on our socials, I am also a host on the Thin Line Rock Station, which is a rock station, a radio station. It's not just rock. We play everything that is specifically for first responders. So it is out of the States. You do have to listen to it via the internet. You can ask Alexa, hey Alexa, play the Thin Line Rock Station, and she will play it for you. It's an incredible station. All of the hosts are either first responders or used to be first responders. We all have our own quirky personalities and different things that we bring to the show. I am the only Canadian host, which makes me just super pumped. I love being able to bring a little bit of Canadian down into the States and kind of talk about things that are the same here and different there. And I like to bring in some Canadian music. I'm slowly infiltrating the station and bringing down more Canadian music, which I love too. So I'm on every Wednesday from 2 to 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So if you are looking for something to listen to, if you are waiting for another podcast episode to drop and you've listened to all of them, you can tune in on Wednesdays with me and just have a little laugh. I like to share some fun tips and some stories and just shoot the shit, really. And they let me say the F word, which is just fucking incredible to be able to do that on the radio. And if you have songs that you'd like to hear, again, let me know. I'll see what I can do to get them on. And tell your friends about the Thin Line Rock Station too, because we always want to expand our listeners. We want to make sure that we're reaching as many first responders as we possibly can. So if you know somebody that you think would love the station, I'm throwing the link and everything in the notes. You can share it out. You can basically tag it and save it as one of your favorites, and then you can listen to it anytime because the music is great. We play all sorts of stuff, everything from metal to rap to 90s to 80s to 70s to country to it is literally there isn't even a set genre of music. It's just everything is on there. So if you love that, definitely tune in to that, the Thin Line Rock Station. So it's time to jump into the episode today, and it's been a while. It's been a hot a hot minute since I have done an episode just by myself and just kind of talked about some stuff. And I was kind of like just reflecting. I've been listening to a couple of the older episodes and just, because I forgot what I've told you guys about my life and my career and stories and things like that. And so I was like, oh, I don't want to repeat anything if you've already heard it. I know, like I said, we've got diehard listeners that have listened to every single episode. I will say I've also got a new listener, Renee. When you get to this episode, because I know you're working your way through, but when you get to this episode, thanks for listening. Thanks for all of your feedback. I really, truly love it. So thank you, Renee. But I want to talk about today. I've kind of been like stuck on this one because my job as the owner of Blue Line is to recruit people into these careers, is to bring people into first responder careers. Be it as law enforcement, fire, wildfire, we're working with paramedics to try and get them and their fitness tests sorted out at Blue Line. That's something I'm hopefully going to have coming in 2026. Athlete fitness testing, VO2 max, that's coming to Blue Line in 2026 as well. But my goal is to draw people towards the career. And so I find it sometimes very hard because I do get very, very frustrated with the agencies. I get very frustrated. I remember when I was working in the agencies, how frustrating it was. It still blows my mind, guys, that it's been 6 years. I've been out for 6 years. Like, that's just incredible to me. It seems like it was yesterday that I was working there, but it also seems like it was like 20 years ago. I know I've changed since I've left, and that's part of what we're going to break down today. But it just, it's weird to think it's been 6 years. Like, it's just crazy to me. But lately, I've been finding the agencies are just truly fucking people. Like, truly, truly fucking them. And I just can't sit idly by anymore and not speak up when I have a platform like this to be able to speak up and have my voice heard. And I know when this episode drops, a lot of you are going to be in your cars nodding your head being like, oh my God, she's right. Oh my God, Nikki, you nailed it. Because I know. Not only did I deal with it when I was a first responder and in corrections, but I'm dealing with it now as somebody who's trying to work with these fucking agencies and help them recruit good people. And I'm seeing the shit show that is happening. So I'm going to break down, there's kind of 15 different kind of things that I want to talk about, and I'm going to break them down a little bit. Don't worry, we're not going to spend a ton of time on each one of them, but I am going to go a little bit into detail. So the number one thing, if you think that life is unfair, wait until you become a first responder, because first responder jobs are exponentially more unfair than anything you will deal with in normal life. And you need to accept that early. So if you are just thinking about joining a career as a first responder, know that life is freaking unfair. And it's going to be unfair in so many different ways. It's going to be unfair in that you are going to see horrible people do horrible things and get away with it. You are going to see horrible things happen to people that never should have had horrible things happen to them, be it a car accident, be it an assault, be it a robbery, be it a homicide. Like, you're going to see it's unfair. And that's just like the actual frontline work that you're doing. The other side of the unfairness is working in an agency that is unfucking fair. There is nothing fair about first responder agencies. There is nothing. So again, accept that early. There is favoritism. There is nepotism. There is, people, like, again, favorites. Like there's just people's favorites. The bosses are going to pick their favorites for prime posts. They're going to pick their favorites to work overtime. They're going to pick their favorites for promotions. They're going to pick their favorites for training opportunities. Like, it is what it is. And yes, it's fucking unfair. And sometimes you're going to be on the side where it's beneficial for you. You're going to be one of those favorites. But sometimes you're going to get fucked and you're going to be not one of the favorites. And you're going to be pissed. You're going to be so pissed at how unfair it is. For me, again, this happened, and this one, like, it's still, and I haven't listened back enough to know that if I talked about this before, but I'm sure I've touched on it. I was in an acting role at the jail. I was acting as a supervisor. And one of my friends, good friend of mine, was recently, her husband, who just so happened to be on my shift and previously been my partner, one of my partners, was caught cheating on her with a frontline staff on our shift. And so I was friends with both of them. I was better friends with obviously my girlfriend than I was with her husband. But of course, you get tied into it, whether you want to or not. I was really hurt for her. I understood how upset she was. I also was the manager of the shift that he'd been cheating on, like the girl he'd been cheating on with was on my shift, on our shift. And so then I was also her boss. And so I had to deal with that, knowing that she had gone and done this, knowing that this other male supervisor was married, and because they both worked at the jail, and so it was very challenging. It was a very challenging position for me to be in, and the whole jail was divided. It was big drama llama, and I tried not to get involved in that, but she was one of my very close friends. And so I ended up getting kind of pulled into it, whether I wanted to or not. And I was at a party at her house, and we'd been drinking. And of course, the phones come out, and somebody had Snapchatted, and I had said, fuck this person's name. And of course, it got caught on Snapchat and went out on Snapchat. And of course, all of the trolls, all of the haters that hated me being the supervisor, immediately screen grabbed it, texted it to our big supervisor, the director. And so when I went into work on the Monday, I got called up and basically got demoted. I got demoted back down to an assistant deputy director instead of the acting deputy director. And I just was so gobsmacked. I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? So this man has had an affair on his wife, who works at the jail, with another frontline staff member, and he's not getting in any trouble at all. We've basically just brushed that under the carpet because he's one of the boys and everybody loves him, and he's still allowed to be this frontline officer's supervisor, even though that's very strict in policy. You cannot be a supervisor and a subordinate and be on the same shift. But he's just allowed to carry on and do what he wants to do with no repercussions whatsoever. But I say fuck whatever his name was, and I get demoted. And so the unfairness of it still gets me to this day, because I just was disgusted with it. And I was like, okay, yeah, there it is again. So again, just be prepared. It's not fair. These jobs are not fair. Nothing about this job is going to be fair. Number 2, here's the truth for you. Do not trade your soul for a dangling carrot, because once you bite it, you can't unbite it. So that means whatever it is, if it's a promotion, if it's something that seems too good to be true, if it's something where you are going to have to change your values, you're going to have to change who you are, change how you do things, change how you treat people, you can't undo that. Once you've taken that promotion, once you've taken that bite out of that carrot, you can't undo it. So just be cognizant of that when you are making decisions as you're moving throughout your career. Number 3, this one is huge. You will have highs and lows in this profession. Whatever first responder profession you choose, and I've talked about this multiple times on the podcast, you will have highs and lows. You will hit your 2-year ebb, flow, 7-year itch, 14-year gong showness. You'll hit all of that, right? Everybody does. Everybody has ebbs and flows. But the one thing that nobody can ever take away from you is your decision to not be a piece of shit to your coworkers. And I know, and I will speak from fucking experience again, I did it. I was one of those people who, when things were shitty, I decided that those around me should also feel shitty. Should I have done it? Absolutely not. Do I regret it? 100%. There is no way that I ever should have made my coworkers or people that are just trying to come to work and make money for their family feel like shit, feel the way they did. And I remember this vividly. I was working in central control. I think I'd been in the jail probably 5 years by that point, 5 or 6 years. Yeah, in and around there. So I was fairly experienced, I must have been less than that because I was a supervisor at 5 years. So probably 4 to 5 years. And again, been around for a while, feeling like I'm fairly experienced. And there was a new girl, and she was on shift, and I just was being a bitch to her. I don't know why. I don't know, I just, she was new and she was doing stupid things, and I was frustrated and I was being a bitch to her. And my female partner basically looked at me, she's like, why are you being such a bitch to her? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Who the fuck are you? What are you talking about? She's an idiot. Look at all these stupid things she's doing. And she's like, yeah, but why? Why are you choosing to be a bitch to her? And I was just like, oh, Like, and it just kind of hit me, and I was like, yeah, why am I being a bitch to her? Like, is that helping her in any way? Is she going to get any better at her job with me being a bitch to her? No, not at all. I'm not helping in any way, shape, or form. And then I put myself back 3 years before when I had been traded onto a shift where the females were fucking absolute bitches. And I was like, oh my God, I've become them. What is wrong with me? What am I doing? Okay. So again, regret it to this day. I did go and apologize to that staff member. I did let her know, like, I don't know. I'm sorry I've been horrible to you. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm sorry. And she was like, oh, thank God. Like, I really thought you hated me. And I was like, I don't hate you. I don't know why. I don't know why I was being a bitch. I just was being a bitch. And so that's a choice on you. It's a choice every day that you make when you come to work. You can either be a piece of shit to people, or you can just go to work and do your job and go the fuck home, right? So again, make those choices when you're going to work. Number 4, don't wait to be picked to train for a job that can take your life, that can put you in prison, or it can expose you to civil liability. Your survival and your competence in this job are your responsibility. And this one is massive, because coming from my background, coming from Blue Line, the work I do, the training that I do for people to try and get them to the fitness level that they need to be to pass their fitness test, and then seeing them get the job and promptly fucking slide off the fitness train. They have done fuck all for the first year that they've been working. And I get it. I get that it's stressful. I get that there's a whole lot of fucking shit going on. I get that you are drinking from a fire hose and trying to train, and you're probably working shift work for the first time in your life, and that takes a toll on your body. But your survival and your competency are your responsibility. So if that means that you cannot survive in a fight because you let your fitness slide, or because you let your training slide, you haven't been working on your control tactics, you haven't been working on, any of your jiu-jitsu or any of that stuff, right? Like, you can die in these professions. That's not a you, maybe it'll happen. You can. It does happen. It happens regularly. And so if you don't want to be that statistic, your training, your competency, and your survival is your responsibility. Don't fucking leave that up to somebody else, and don't expect the agency to fucking train you for that. They're going to give you training. They gave you training. It's called basic training. Too bad that happened 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 17 years ago, and you haven't gotten any upgrading training from that. Suck it up. Fucking figure it out. Get your own training. Stay fucking sharp. Stay fucking on top of that stuff, because it is the difference between life and death. Number 5, this is a huge one again. Seeking mental health support does not make you weak. It makes you smart, and smart enough to recognize when life is hitting harder than usual. So we talk about this again all the time on the podcast. I don't know, I should go back and figure out how many guests have actually, in their piece of advice for somebody looking to get into the career, have said having a therapist, making sure that you are mentally well, mentally resilient before you join this career. Because once you get in, if you are already struggling with mental health, if you are already struggling and you have past trauma, you have unresolved, issues that you haven't kind of spoken to somebody about or dealt with, it's going to come up, and it's going to compound and compound and compound. And so you need to know, when are you healthy and when are you not healthy, mentally and physically, but mentally is a big one, because once you get in the career, the slide happens very fast from mentally stable to mentally unstable, and you won't recognize it. You won't recognize it. And I've said this before, I didn't recognize when I was becoming mentally unstable. I didn't recognize the slide. My friends did. My friends called me out on it a couple times, and I was just like, oh, you don't even know. You don't know you don't know what we do. You don't know what we see every day. Like, I'm not different. You guys are different. I just deal with all this shit every day. And so, yeah, maybe I make some like dark humor jokes and things like that. But no, I was sliding into mental instability, and my friends were trying to tell me, and I was not listening, right? And so you need to know the difference between healthy and unhealthy, and what is like a baseline of healthy for you is, and when you need to seek help, because we usually wait a little too long, and you don't want to do that, because then we've got the compounded mental health issues that are starting to stack up, and we hit help way too late. Number 6, and this kind of compounds again on what I was saying before, taking ownership of your physical health. Being out of shape makes everything harder. on the street, in the units, in court, at home. If you are out of shape, you are unable to do the things that you need to do in life. And that could be running around with your kids on your days off, doing things that make you happy when you're not at work, fishing, hiking, hunting. If you can't actually walk down to the lake to go fishing, you can't go fishing, right? Like simple things like that. Your physical health is so important in these jobs. It's important because you need to be fit for duty. Your fitness is relied upon to help others. If you're not fit, you're not helping anybody. You're definitely not helping the community. You sure as fuck aren't helping yourself. And you're definitely not helping your partner. So taking ownership of your physical health, doing what you need to do to make sure that you are physically well, and that means fitting in workouts when the fuck you can. It means eating well. It means sleeping well. It means hydration. It means taking care of yourself the best way that you can while working around shift work. Number 7, this one hits so hard for me. Most people at work are situational friends. So when you leave the institution, when you leave the agencies, you will never hear from the majority of them again. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget that, because I fell into that trap. I thought, oh my God, these are my ride or dies. These are my brothers and sisters in blue. They have my back. They are there for me. They would step in front of a bullet for me. They would fight for me. These are my brothers and sisters. And when I left the jail, the amount of people that actually called to see what was happening, how I was doing, what was going on was very slim. And the ones that did call and did text and did ask what was going on just wanted gossip. They wanted to know why I quit. They wanted to know what I was doing. Not if I was well, not if, I needed anything, not if they could help in any way, but just what's the gossip? What's the hot tea, so they can take it back and spread the gossip around the jail, right? And so that was something that hit really hard, and it hit multiple times throughout my career. I talked about it, when I became a supervisor and all those friends dropped off, and all of a sudden I wasn't allowed to sit at certain places in the lunchroom, and I wasn't invited to day 6 beers anymore. And they're situational friends. They're not your true friends. They really are not your true friends. And it can feel like they are. It can feel like those are your people because you see them all day, every day. You see them more than you see your family. You spend more holidays with those people than you do with your family. But honestly, the majority of those people are situational friends. And when the situation changes, those friendships are gone. They no longer exist. Number 8. You don't need a K-9 job, a specialty unit, specialty posting to make a difference, right? You can change lives every single day through attitude, effort, and selflessness. You don't need the special stripe on your shoulder, the special FTO pin, the special whatever the fuck it is that you think is going to make you feel better than your coworkers or better about yourself. You don't fucking need that. What you need to do is come to work every day and bring that attitude, that effort, and that selflessness to the work that you're doing every single day. Because again, people want to talk about, oh, I want to go into TAC. I want to be on the tactical team. That's when I get into corrections, I'm going to go for TAC. Or when I get into the police, I'm going to go for the SWAT team. I'm going to go for undercover drugs. I'm going to go for homicide. I'm going to be a detective. I'm going to do all these. Okay, great. It's great to have goals. But you know where we really make a difference? We really make a difference on the front lines. When you're working the units on, a regular unit with those inmates and you're dealing with 72 of them every single day, you're making a difference. When you're in your patrol car and you're out on the streets and you're doing the beat, you're making a difference. You don't need the specialty units. You don't need hazmat and fire to be a great firefighter. You can be a great firefighter showing up every day with a great attitude, putting in that work, having a great work ethic, and being selfless. Training people because it's meant to be shared. That knowledge is meant to be shared. Not doing it because it's going to get you an FTO pin or it's going to get you, extra credit, or people are going to notice, so the next time that there's a sergeant's position that comes up, you're going to get hired or you're going to get promoted. Number 9, training matters. Training matters, especially hands-on, reality-based training. So again, I've talked about this a little bit, but this one is huge. If you're not training in some form of jiu-jitsu, martial arts, grappling, you are choosing unnecessary risk, okay? And again, I know fire maybe not necessarily as applicable to you, but It is, because that strength and that ability to wrangle and move heavy things and pick heavy things up and put heavy things down is necessary throughout all first responder careers. It is so important that we are physically strong and that we are able to handle whatever gets thrown at us, be it equipment, be it people coming at us, be it unexpected things that you have to jump over, crawl under, deal with that are coming at you. We have to be trained up, and you have to maintain that training, because again, the agencies aren't going to fucking do it for you. You are going to get your basic training. You're going to learn a fuckload. You're going to graduate. You're going to think, okay, I got it. I know everything. And in 2 years, if you haven't used whatever one random piece of training that they did in the training academy, if it just hasn't happened that you've needed to use that piece of, training or that piece of knowledge, it goes away. It goes away very quickly. And then all of a sudden you're in a situation where you don't remember what the fuck you're supposed to do. You blank, and you just go back, you default to like, holy shit, I'm throwing haymakers because that's how I got to get out of this situation. And then you're up on a use of force, right? So training matters. Do what you can to keep your own training up. Maybe your agency is great. Maybe they do annual recertification training where you need to actually recert your control tactics, or you need to recert your baton, or you need to recert, your taser, whatever it is. Maybe. Doubtful. Highly fucking doubtful, because right now agencies are so focused on recruiting new people to fill all the fucking spots of everybody that's leaving that they don't got time or energy to pour into you that's already there in uniform. They just hope that you fucking stick around. And so it is on you. The onus is on you to get that training, to keep that training at the forefront, and make sure that you are doing the things that you need to do in case shit hits the fan. The most effective first responders know a little about everything. So you know about case law, you know about tactics, you know about communication, you know about humanity, you know about psychology, sociology. You know a little bit about everything, because depth in one area doesn't replace balance. You need to make sure that you know a little bit about everything, so that when you come on those situations where, hey, the fact that you know somebody that knows that, or you know that one little nugget of information that's going to help in that call, that is more key than being, again, Hazmat's going to think I hate on them, but I love you, Hazmat, for fire. If you're the key Hazmat guy, that's wonderful. That's great. You have an expertise in that area. But having knowledge of all of the things that fire has to do, or all of the things that police officers or correctional officers or sheriffs have to do, that is highly beneficial whenever you come on any call. Number 11, again, this is key. This is such a huge one. A promotion does not require you to follow some romanticized version of leadership. Learn from great supervisors, not the bitter or ineffective ones. And I'm going to give a caveat on that, because I did learn a fuckload from bitter and ineffectual supervisors. I learned exactly what not to fucking do. I was like, I will never be like that person, because holy fuck are they useless, and I don't ever want to be like that person. Now, again, that came from, they didn't necessarily need to be leaders. I worked with some really shitty fucking partners that I also was like, I'm never going to be like that. I will never be that type of person when I'm dealing with an inmate, regardless of if I'm a supervisor, if I'm a frontline staff, if I'm a manager, right? So you don't have to have, and one of the questions they're going to ask you in the interview, guaranteed, is what is your leadership style? Or what's the difference between a leader and a manager, right? They want to know, do you actually understand what leadership is? The key thing for that is, what is your version of leadership? What is your style? What do you bring to the fucking table as a leader? And it can be different. Maybe you lead by example. Maybe you lead and you are passionate and people are just energized and they want to follow you. Maybe you lead with authenticity. You're just fucking really, really you. And people know when they come to you, they're going to get the blunt, honest truth. They're not always going to fucking like it, but they're going to get the blunt, honest truth. Maybe you lead with compassion and empathy. You are there for your staff. You are the person that they can go to when shit is hitting the fan at home and they're barely hanging on, and they can come and they can tell you their full story. And they know that you're not going to shit on them for that. They know that you're going to have that empathy and that compassion. So what is your leadership style? What are you bringing to the table? And again, even if you're not in a leadership role, if you're not in a supervision role, you can still be a leader. You can still be a leader on shift. You can still bring that skill set forward, because in all different situations, different types of leaders need to step up. Don't complain about every inconvenience. Okay, this is number 12. Remember that interview? Remember way back when you were interviewing and you were just a young buck, a young pup with your suit and tie on and your hair all nice and cleanly shaven and looking good, shoes are shine. You remember that? Do you remember when they asked you or told you you'd be working 24/7? You'd be working night shifts. You'd be working holidays. You'd be working fucking weekends. You'd be working birthdays and anniversaries, and you'd be missing your kids' sports. And they told you this. They fucking told you this in the interview. You knew what you were signing up for. And if you didn't know what the fuck you were signing up for, holy fuck, I don't know what the fuck you thought you were thinking when you were becoming a first responder. Because there isn't a 9-to-5 job, guys. So if you were shocked that you were going to miss out on shit, do your fucking research, first of all. But you were told in that interview back then that you'd be working nights, that you'd be doing weekends, and you accepted it without hesitation. You were like, yes, sign me the fuck up. I want that. I'm going to do that. It's going to be great. So now don't complain about it. Don't complain that you have to work nights. Don't complain that you have to work on the weekends. Yes, it sucks. We all know it fucking sucks. We all know working Christmas is balls. We know it. We know that working your kid's birthday is balls. We know that missing the Christmas concert sucks. We know that, having to take summer vacation not at the optimum time when everybody else can take summer vacation. We know that it sucks, but don't complain about it because we're all in it with you. And your coworkers are just grinding it out too. And they're missing their kids' birthdays, and they're missing their kids' anniversaries, and they're missing their, families as well. So don't complain about it. This one again, and I mean, it goes back to the very first story I told at the beginning of this podcast. Keep your work life and your personal life separate. Blurring that line will cost you relationships, peace, and perspective. Okay, this is a huge one. Your whole life cannot be tied up in your job. If you roll in and you're like, oh my God, these are all now my new best friends, and they're the only people that I'm going to hang out with, and now I'm dating every single person that I'm working with, and I'm going on days off, I'm with these people, and at work I'm with these people, and, time away from work I'm with these people, I'm vacationing with these people, right? You've let that line blur, and it's going to cost you relationships outside of work. So those people that are still out there that knew you before you became Sergeant so-and-so or Constable so-and-so or, Sheriff so-and-so or Correctional Officer so-and-so, they're still hanging out in the wings. They're still waiting for you. They still know who the real you is, right? And if you ditch those people for all these new situational friends that I've just talked about, those people, they're not going to be waiting around for you. They're not going to wait around for you to come back to them, right? People have their own priorities, and you don't want to lose those relationships because those relationships, those external relationships are what gives you perspective. It gives you perspective on this life and on what reality is versus the reality that you see every day when you go to work. So make sure, again, and don't shit where you eat, guys. Like, I could preach this to the fucking cows come home. Do not date your coworkers. I don't care if you think that person is going to be your forever soulmate. And I know people that have met their spouses and they are still happily married and, they have kids together and stuff like that. But I know way fucking more that have destroyed their lives, their careers, the trajectory of their career by dating or sleeping with somebody from work. So just don't make that mistake, guys. Don't make that mistake. Just don't go into it thinking this is the fucking new Tinder and I'm going to find my BFF or my boyfriend or my girlfriend in this place, because it's not a good idea. Number 14, we kind of talked about this too. Don't talk shit about the people you work with. Guilty. Fucking got demoted because of it. So learn that lesson hard. But even when you're frustrated, do not talk shit about the people you work with, because again, your friends at work are situational friends. 95% of them are going to take whatever the fuck you said and go running straight to the person that you said it about and tell them, oh my God, do you know what I heard? Guess what? And they're going to pretend that they didn't say it. They're going to pretend that they didn't pass that drama along. They're going to pretend that they didn't gossip, but they sure as fuck did. And you probably did too. I'm sure at some point in your career, you will have talked shit about somebody and had it come back on you, or spread the word that somebody was talking shit about somebody else. Guys, we are grown-ass adults. Do not be a junior high. Do not be a high school. Silence is the smartest move. Shut your mouth. Don't fucking talk shit about people. Don't spread gossip. And I promise you, your career will go much smoother, much better. You will not get yourself in as much hot water, and you'll know everything. Because if it gets around that you don't talk, everybody comes and tells you everything that's going on. Again, knowledge is fucking power sometimes. Sometimes knowing what's what about people is very, very, very helpful when you move forward or when you're looking on how to deal with certain situations. So being that silent, smart person can be very helpful. And number 15, character outlasts assignments, titles, and equipment. How you treat people on your worst day will define your career more than anything else. Your character, your integrity, that is what matters in this career. If you let your character be sullied by whatever, favoritism, nepotism, bitterness, that anger, that betrayal of, whoever, whatever the agency, if you let that alter your character and change how you treat people, that's going to define your career in a way that you don't want. Be above that. Rise above that. Keep your character, keep your integrity, keep your identity. Do the best that you can to maintain yourself the way you were before you started this career, because it very quickly erodes. It very quickly changes who you are. So maintaining that character, that true version of yourself, and keeping those external people that give you perspective, that help remind you who the true version of yourself is, that is so key in this as well. Don't let circumstances change you. Don't let them change your character. And so I just, talking through these things, and these all came, there's an Instagram that I follow called Street Cop Training, and he had posted a bunch of these, and as I was reading through them, I thought to myself, oh my God, every single one of these is resonating. Every single one of them I've had in my career, gone through. And reading through the comments, like, don't ever trust another cop exclusively. Trust is a matter of reciprocal need, right? Like, totally true. Like, you don't have any obligation to subscribe to anyone else's views, values, goals. You do have an obligation to yourself to uphold your values and integrity, but at the same time, you're allowed to change. So that includes what you think is the right path for you. The right path for you doesn't necessarily have to match what the right path is for anybody else, or what the right path is that the agency says it should be for you, right? You have a right to change where you're going. And for me, again, that change was being like, holy fuck, I'm actually exiting. I'm leaving. I'm not staying. I'm going to go, right? Like, and so those things, they can change for you, and your path can change, and that's totally fine. And then on the other side of it, I want to just kind of talk a little bit about the agencies, because right now in Alberta, we're dealing with a massive slippage of the standards that should be upheld for people that want to get into careers in law enforcement. And so if you're working in a career right now, you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. You are nodding your head right now and you're like, oh my God, yes, yes. Do you see? If they have a pulse, they're getting hired, and they're terrible, and they should never, ever be in these careers. And again, this is a very sensitive and hard topic for me, because I am the person that are helping a lot of these people get hired. I'm the one that's doing interview prep and prepping them on how to answer these questions and helping them get fit enough to pass the fitness test. At the end of the day, though, I don't have a say on yes or no. So sometimes I help people and I think to myself, holy Jesus, there's no fucking way that this person should ever work in this career. But I have to help them, because they're a client and they've requested my help. They've paid me their hard-earned money to help them, and so I'm going to do my best to help them, while also giving them a real fucking big dose of reality as to what they're looking like, what they're walking into, and how hard this job is going to be, and how much is going to change them, and how much sacrifice they're actually going to have to give, that being lazy is not going to fly, right? And so sometimes that happens, and sometimes they don't get hired, and sometimes they do get hired. I have no control on that. That's up to recruiting. That's up to HR. That is beyond my hands. Sometimes I have really fucking phenomenal people, like people that I'm like, oh my God, I wish I was still in recruiting, because I would hire this person in a heartbeat. They may not have the formal education. They may not have the background or the past work experience, but I know, speaking to these people and seeing the work ethic and the energy and the effort that they put into the preparation, just the preparation to get into these careers, I'm like, that is somebody that I fucking want. And they don't get hired. And I think to myself, who the fuck did not hire this person? Because you can tell right from their interview, from the way they answer the questions, from the things that they do, from the experiences that they speak about in their interviews, that they would be a phenomenal officer, but they're just not getting picked. And so, again, I don't have any say over HR practices, but I will say, if you are listening to this podcast and you work in human resources, or you are a supervisor, or you are a manager, or you are a director of an agency, can you just have a fucking conversation with your human resources department about who should actually be working in these careers? And don't give me the, oh, we can't hire anybody, we can't, we just need bodies to fill the uniforms. Yeah, I fucking get that. I get it. Believe me, I was a manager. We didn't have enough staff. We were short-staffed all the fucking time. But that didn't mean that I ever wanted us to lower our standards and just hire whoever the fuck we could get off the street and put them out on a unit in a uniform, because you know how much more fucking work it was for me as a manager to deal with that person than it was to never have hired them in the first place? So much fucking work. And once they're in, and they're never fucking leaving. Because when you hire a slug, they're going to stay. They're going to be a lifer slug. And they're going to go on GI, and they're going to take summers off, and they're going to be sick, and they're going to do the bare fucking minimum, and then whine when they don't get overtime. That's what you're hiring. When you lower your standards, that is what you are getting. And this is what I'm seeing from the agencies right now. Lowering of standards, turning a blind eye when people don't match the criteria that they have very clearly put out in their recruitment posters or in their job postings. They must have this, and then people get hired. And I know for a fucking fact that they don't have that, because guess what? I did their fucking interview prep, and I read their resume, and I talked to them, and I know for a fact that they don't have 2 years experience, or they don't have the schooling that you're requiring, and yet we're fucking hiring them. So why would we have standards then if we're just going to hire whoever the fuck we want? The next thing that pisses me off the most is the lack of fitness standards. And so I'm going to address the big old white elephant in the room. The agencies that, again, pass people on a fitness test who didn't actually pass. And I don't fucking tell me that it's not happening, because I know it's fucking happening. Again, as a fact, I know it's happening, because I've had people come and run with us at Blue Line and fail by over a minute. By over a minute. So we're not talking a couple seconds here, go a little faster on this lap and you've got it. Over a minute. And 4 days later, they'll send me an email and say, oh my God, I passed when I ran here. And I'm thinking to myself, did a magical fairy come down and wave a magic wand that let you pass? Because there's no fucking way that you shaved a minute off in 4 days or a week. There's no fucking physical way that you did that. So what that tells me is that, again, our recruiting standards, whoever's running the fitness tests in these places, are just turning a blind eye and saying, oh, you know what, it was close enough. It was good enough for them to get through. Why the fuck do we have standards then, guys? Why do we have a standardized fitness test that must be adhered to super strictly, measured out, weights proper, the whole shebang has to be perfect? If we're just going to ignore it, we're just going to let people through because we need to fill bodies. But it makes no sense to me, guys. It makes no sense. It pisses me off, too. It also pisses me off. That's something that because to me, having been the person that's worked out there, knowing if I knew that the person that I was working with hadn't actually passed the fitness test, and they're my backup, and I know that they couldn't even do the bare minimum of the fitness test, holy fuck. Holy fuck. And again, I will say it. It happened when I got hired. And I've talked about this in other episodes. There was 3 females. 3 females that ran the COPAT the same day as me. 17 males, 3 females. The 2 females that went before me, both of them failed. I know this because I fucking watched them. I watched them fail. I watched them not be able to complete the test. I was shitting my fucking pants when it was my turn, because I was like, holy crap, these 2 other girls just went. One of them looked way fucking fitter than I did, and she failed. The other one was not fit at all. She failed. And then there's me. And if you know me, if you know my body shape, you know my size, I am what I like to call fat fit. I'm a chubby bunny that works out like a motherfucker. And am I fast? No. When I get to speed, I'm kind of fast, but I'm not that fast, right? But I'm also fit. I know I'm fucking fit. And I was super fucking fit back then because I was training for Canada. So I was, even then, knowing that I was probably at the fittest I've ever been in my entire life, I was shitting my pants. I was so scared about that COPAT test. And then I ran it and I passed it. And back then, you had to pass it in 2 minutes and 50 seconds. So 30 seconds faster than what you have to pass it in now. And I think I ended up getting like I want to say a 241, something like that. And I was like shitting my pants. I was like so scared that I was going to fail. And I beat it by 9 seconds. Is 9 seconds great? Nope. But I had a window. Of 9 seconds. Thank God. The people that I see now coming through, we've got 4-minute co-pats, 5-minute, 6-minute co-pats. And sometimes these people are getting through. And that, to me, is awful. And when I go back to when I ran it, those 2 girls, one of them didn't make it, and one of them did. One of them magically showed up at training on Monday morning after I saw her fail on the Saturday. So somehow, she reran it in a day and passed, which there's no fucking way, right? And so it does happen out there. And so again, if you're an agency, if you're listening to this and you're an agency, please do some fucking due diligence. If you're a supervisor, if you're a manager, if you're a director, go out and watch. Go watch one of these sessions. Don't just trust your staff to let them do this. Go fucking watch. Because at the end of the day, the liability is on you. It's on your agency. When you hire these people and you fudge formal documents and you pretend that they're fit enough and you let them through because, oh, we really need, this person or this gender or this whatever, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're also doing the officers that worked their fucking asses off to pass legitimately, you're doing them a disservice. And then the last thing I want to talk about with agencies, because this one has really sent me into orbit this last year. Oh, I guess there's 2 things. The agencies that have gotten rid of your fitness test, what the fuck are you doing? Can we also talk about that? Well, we can't hire anybody, so we're just going to get rid of the fitness test, and we'll just get them fit enough in training. Like, if you do this, you clearly didn't listen to the first part of this podcast, which is where I talk about the fact that the agency is going to give you your 12 weeks of training, your 9 weeks of training, your 7 weeks of training, and that's it. So if your agency is saying, we don't need a fitness test, we're going to get them fit enough at training academy or at, and I'm not going to say the D word, but you know what I'm talking about. We're going to get fit enough when we go to those places. Yeah, you're going to be there for however the fuck long you're there. And then when you leave, do you think you're going to maintain that fitness? If you weren't fit enough to start, and then they jacked you up for 5 months or 3 months or however long it was, they killed you. When you leave training, do you think you're going to maintain that? No, you're not. It is not that has not been drilled into you as a lifelong skill. You might keep it up for a couple months after, but you're going to slip right off. And then you're going to be that out of shape, shitty officer that can't do anything because you didn't keep up your fitness. And you were allowed into this career without having to be fit off the hop. So again, if you're a director, if you are a high-level manager, don't drop the fitness standard. Don't let your agency, the government, whoever the fuck it is, drop that fitness standard or change the time or give them more time. Because all we're doing is enabling losers. We are enabling people who don't want to put in the effort, the energy, the determination, the dedication it takes to get to a bare minimum level of fitness. That's what we're doing. And so that's who you then want to put out on the street as your officers, people that you enabled to be losers. It makes no sense, agencies. It makes no sense. And then my last point, and again, this one has sent me into orbit this last year, is the agencies that refuse to collaborate. They are fighting for the same piece of pie as everybody else's, which I get. It is a hot market right now to try and get people into any first responder career. You want to go fire, you want to go paramedic, you want to go police, sheriffs, corrections, border patrol, RCMP, like you name it, everybody is recruiting. Everybody is at every single recruitment fair. They're at every single career thing, every job thing, every school, you name it. You go to these things, you're going to see every single agency there with their little table and their tent and their cards and their spiel. Everybody is recruiting. What a lot of agencies are doing is they're not collaborating. So they are saying, these are my people. I'm not sharing with you. I'm not going to share ideas with you on how best to recruit. I'm not going to let outside people come in and help. No, these are my people. This is my program. It's my fitness stuff. All we're doing is alienating every single person. So small businesses like me who are literally, I started this business to fucking help people, help agencies, help the government of Alberta. Yeah, government of Alberta, I'm fucking talking to you. To help you get people fit enough to come to this job. So when you cock block us, and we are trying our best to help you out, we are trying to host events with you, we are trying to figure out what new fucking standard you now have, or what thing you've changed, or what new requirements you have. And when you stonewall us, when you say, no, those people can't come on your podcast, no, you can't have them talk about this, no, we can't have this information out in the public, what the fuck are you doing? You are literally negating all of your recruitment efforts if you refuse to share resources, if you refuse to allow outside help, if you refuse to, again, collaborate or work with other people. If we all worked together to do recruiting, to share resources on best practices, if we all reached out and said, hey, this is what we're doing, hey, this is what we're doing, let me tell you, I bet your recruitment efforts would go way fucking through the roof. I bet you would get better applicants. I bet you would get more applicants. I bet you would get better prepared applicants. And the other side of that is, I bet you if you let small businesses like me and other businesses, and again, I'm not just saying this because I'm, Blue Line wants to do all these things. Of course we do. Of course we do. I'm a business owner. Of course I want to be the number one contractor, to be, have our services used. Of course I do. But what I really want to do is get good fucking people into these jobs, because I see what is going through the door right now, and I am appalled. I am appalled at what we are hiring. So why would you not let companies like me help you get better people? Why would you stonewall us? Why would you hide information on your agency? Why would you not let your staff talk freely about their work? Is it because you're scared that they're going to tell the truth about your agency? And that it isn't all roses and sunshine and the beautiful recruitment seal that you have to say? Is it because there is toxicity? Is it because there is favoritism? There is nepotism? I know that's a culture change that you're going to have to deal with, agencies. I know it's shocking. It's really shocking that you have to deal with that. Or are we just hiding that information because we don't want other people to know, other agencies to know, to learn about what we're doing, because then they might steal our recruits? You guys, it's so fucked up. Just share. Share resources, share knowledge, share events, talk to each other at these things, figure out what's working out best for everybody so that we can all move forward, we can all help these people, and we can get better officers, better firefighters, better paramedics, better dispatchers out into the streets, serving our communities, taking care of the places that we live. Okay, so that's my soapbox. I'm going to get off it now. I'm all worked up. But I hope that this resonated with you. And again, if you are a leader in an organization, and if you're super pissed about what I just said, if you're like, how dare you, Nikki, how dare you say this, or how dare you bring this up, or how dare you accuse us of this, fucking bring it. Bring it. Come and talk to me. Let's have a conversation. Because if I've got it wrong, I want to learn. If I've got it totally ass backwards and I'm completely wrong, fill me in. I'll go back on this podcast. I will put it back out to the people. I will admit that I am wrong. I have no problem with that. I have no problem ever admitting that I'm wrong. So if I've got it wrong, please come and tell me. But if I've got it right, which I'm pretty fucking sure I've got it right, what are you doing? How are we changing this? How the fuck can we make it better? Because I want to help. That's what I want to do. I want to help the people that are already in these jobs have better partners come through so that they don't want to fucking leave these jobs by the droves and leave you even further short-staffed. Okay? All right, guys, that is it. That is me. I hope you liked this episode. If you liked this episode, go tell a friend. Phone somebody right now and be like, holy shit, Nikki is spilling truth on this podcast and she is lit up and you need to listen to it. Share the episode, text a friend, comment, and if you have something you want on the show, send me a voice note. You can send a voice note at the bottom of this podcast. Literally hit the voice note button. It'll send me a message. I will put you on the show. If you don't want to be on the show, if you're like, oh God, I don't want to say it, but don't put me on the show, I'll just read it out. I'll just say what it is that you said. I won't mention your name. You don't have to be mentioned on here. But if you want a topic, if there's something that you know want to talk about, or if there's something in this episode that resonated with you that you want to add in, by all means, send me a note, send me an email, send me a DM, send me a voice note. I want to know. I want your feedback, and I want to know how we can make this show better, how it can serve you better, how you can learn more. Okay, guys, have a wonderful rest of your day. Well, that's it for today, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in, listening, giving me your time, your energy, and your attention. I completely appreciate it. Make sure you check out our next episode with another badass female first responder anywhere you get your favorite podcasts. And follow us on Instagram and Facebook at bluelinefitnesstesting.com. I hope you stay safe, keep your head on a swivel, and watch your six. Blue Line Fitness Testing is a premier law enforcement fitness testing and training center based in Edmonton. Specializing in helping individuals prepare for the physical demands of a career in law enforcement, we offer comprehensive fitness evaluations, specialized training programs, and classes tailored to meet the unique needs of our clients. Our facility hosts a range of classes and are committed to fostering a supportive and empowering environment where clients can achieve their fitness goals. Our team includes experienced trainers who bring specialized expertise in law enforcement, self-defense, personal training, and rehabilitation. We engage through our community through challenges, events, and our podcast, and we are dedicated to helping individuals succeed in their fitness journeys and career aspirations in law enforcement. Are you looking to get started with your career? Come see Blue Line Fitness Testing, and we'll get you there.